Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw.
So, welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw, and I'm bringing you 5 cards to go with Betor akin to all. I am a little late to the party, but I do have something interesting for y'all for this commander. It is a Spirit Dragon commander, and first, let's talk about the art. This is my favorite Spirit Dragon art, actually. I think just because the color scheme is different. It feels more earthy, earth tones, volcanic, versus the other Spirit Dragons where they're just majestically and elegantly flying throughout the magic universe, the realms. This one just like came straight from the ground and just says, I'm here. Whether the artwork kind of does say that too. All right, so let's talk about him. Abzhan Commander, toughness matters. I think this can be an elf ball commander. That's what I really want to show with y'all. And that's at the very end of the video. And I'm stating the case, it can be an elf ball commander and super fun. Otherwise, it's life lost too. So, without further ado, let me read more about this bad spirit dragon. For 2 white, black, and green, 5/7 body spirit dragon, and I'll enlarge the screen. It has flying, a 5/7 flyer. It says at the beginning of your end step, if creatures you control have total toughness 10 or greater, draw a card. That's easy. He's already 5/7, so if you have a creature with toughness 3 more, you get to draw a card. Then if creatures you control have total toughness 20 or greater, untap each creature you control. This is that's easy too. You're going wide here and you're just buffing them up. Um, Also, you got to consider why not have creatures that have tap abilities. So if you get to the 20 greater mark, you get to untap them and use that tap ability again. Then, if creatures you control have total toughness 40 or greater, each opponent loses half their life rounded up. That's easy to do. This is easier to do than you imagine. Trust me. So let's talk about cards that can buff our creatures. They're usually anthems, but we got some other stuff. So we're going to start with a card from Tarkir Dragonstorm. Baron Step Siege for 2 white and a black. It's an enchantment. As this enchantment enters, choose Abzhan or Mardu. Abzhan gives at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Okay, we just buff our creatures, increase their toughness. So by the time we drop in Betor Kin to all, maybe we can hit the 20 mark. Then it has Mardu. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. Cool, a little aristocrat strategy. Kind of control the board. Why not? So let's go to another +1/+1 theme. Court of Garenbrig for 1 and 2 green enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. Then, if you're the monarch, double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Obviously, we can go with a proliferate theme, a +1/+1 counter theme. And if you don't know what the monarch is, monarch says it's an emblem that you get, and at the end step, you get to draw a card. If an opponent deals combat damage to you, they become the monarch. So yeah, we got some +1/+1 counter strategies with Betor akin to all. But let's get these creatures to this 10, 20, and 40 mark toughness. And a card from Aether Drift, I'm not awesome, but gladly cracked. It's this card. March of the World Ooze for 3 and 3 green. Creatures you control have base power and toughness 6/6 and are oozes in addition to their other types. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if it's not their turn, you create a 3/3 green elephant creature token. This is just, I feel like this is an auto clue. The math is easy. If you have 7 creatures, 7 times 6 is 42. So their toughness is already 42, even if they are 1/1s that become 6/6s. Easy as that. Then it makes creatures when players cast spells on other players' turns. You can get to the 40 mark easily. Easily. Moving on to instant speed spell that can change the game and win the game. Because ultimately we want to have creatures with 40 toughness to make our opponents lose half their life. So another way for opponents to lose life, because we want to get to the 40 toughness mark, we just need to make creatures. And guess what? Ink Shield is that. And your opponents won't see this coming. Ink Shield says for 3 and a white and a black, instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Your opponents attack players all the time with 14, 20-something creatures. I'm thinking Hare Apparent, Scoot Swarm. If you prevent that damage and you make 20 creatures, that's a total toughness of 20 right there. Then you can play Betor on the following turn, and the instep triggers at his ability triggers at the end. And guess what? You can get one of the 10, 20, or 40 marks depending on your situation. And you did this at instant speed, and your opponents won't even see it coming. So yeah, Scoot Swarm is another green creature that makes a lot of creature tokens. It's one of the best ones actually. For 2 and a green, 1/1 insect body, it has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. Yeah. The mark that is only 6 lands, that's nothing. You better be making 6 lands. You're gonna be rampant in this deck anyway. So what are we talking about? Anyways, this is one of my sneaky favorite cards. Bio-Waste Blob for 2 and 2 green. 0/0 body creature ooze. Oozes you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a commander, create a token that's a copy of Bio-Waste Oob. Blob. Oob. Ooze and Blob is a oob. That's funny. Yeah, I need some more coffee. So with this being said, if you have this paired with Betor, this kind of gets out of control because the oozes get really big. Once it sits for 2 turns, it's out of control because you're making copies of the ooze for each ooze, and each ooze pumps it up like a coat of arms where it gets +1/+1. So if you got 2 ooze on the battlefield, the next turn is 4 oozes, but they get +4/+4. So that's 4, 8, 16, 20 toughness right there. That's off of 3 turns. Yeah, and it only gets larger. Now on to my favorite part that y'all been waiting for. I know y'all love elves, so this is cards that I recommend for elf ball. So what I want to say is, when you play elves, you're going wide, and elves have so many abilities where one elf makes 4 elves, and an elf can tap for mana because you have more elves, and it's just a bunch of elf synergy. What you do need to know is you can expedite the power and toughness of your creatures by playing creatures that have the warlock mechanic. Ooh, I just found this out the other day, actually last night. Googling it. The warlock mechanic, it's not even a mechanic, it's just like it's a thing. It's like Titans. Like the warlock is where the creature's power and toughness is equal to the number of creatures in play. That is the warlock thing. So let's talk Beast of Burden over here. For 6 mana, it's a golem. Beast of Burden's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures in play. So if there's 20 creatures in the play, you're dropping Beast of Burden, it is a 20/20. Think Betor, kin to all, its threshold is 10, 20, and 40. You have more than enough opportunity to take advantage by getting to these marks. But back to Elf Ball. We got Abomination of Llanowar for 1 black and a green. Legendary creature, Elf Horror. It has Vigilance and Menace. Abomination of Llanowar's power and toughness are each equal to the number of elves you control, plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. So if this is a 10/10, straight up, you got a 10/10 Vigilance and Menace. This is crazy. And it just works with Betor, Kindle All. You have the option of, like, the color pip black in this gives you, like, life lost ability. There's cards that say opponents lose life equal to the amount of creatures you control. Like, so just take advantage of this. And I got Lathril, Blade of the Elves in this. So stick around for 3 other cards first. So we got more cards that take advantage for the number of elves in play. Heedless One for 3 and a green. Elf Avatar has Trample. Heedless One's power and toughness is equal to the number of elves on the battlefield. Cool. On the right hand side, we got Drove of Elves. Same mana cost, except this one has Hexproof. It says Drove of Elves' power and toughness are each equal to the number of green permanents you control. Okay. Green permanents could be your enchantments, planeswalkers, elves that you have on the battlefield. It can be kind of low, but if you're making tokens and they say they're 1/1 green elves, yeah, this can get pretty big, and it's hexproof. In the middle, we got Queen, a land all of Rodach for green and 2 white. Elf Noble. Her power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. If you control 10 creatures, she's a 10/10 for 3 mana. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier creature token are created instead. So, more tokens you make, she just adds an additional 1, making her power and toughness bigger. You see what I'm going at here? You can easily trigger Betor Kindle All. It's 10, 20, and 40 mark. Moving on to Lathro. We had to talk about her. So, Lathro, Blade of Elves, one of the most popular commanders. It goes very well with this because guess what? For 2 black and a green, 2/3 body, Elf Noble, she has Menace. Whenever Lathro Blade of Elves deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Tap her. Tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. I just feel like this is the ultimate elf ball commander because you're able to deal damage. She just deals damage. Players lose life. And then you can have her in the 99 of Betor Kindle All, and you just have a bunch of synergy by taking advantage of going wide. You can also tutor her and put her on the battlefield. Like, you got options. And Bolas Citadel gets out of control too for 3 and 3 black legendary artifact. You look at the top card of your library anytime. You're just sneak peeking, just deciding what you want to play next. And you may play the top card of your library if you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than pay its mana cost. So yeah, casting free spells equivalent to your life can get you very ahead of the game. Then once again, life loss. Tap it, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. What are we talking about here? I think this is a great elf ball deck. Potential. Now moving on to cards you may have missed. Why not make a Hare Apparent deck? You can have any number of them anyway. 99 elves. 99 Hare Apparents in your deck. I don't know how you would cast it, but y'all know Hare Apparent by now. It's for 1 and a white rabbit noble. When this creature enters, create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to the number of other creatures you control named Hare Apparent. A deck can have any number of cards named Hare Apparent. And why not add Regal Bunnycorn for 1 and a white? Rabbit Unicorn. Rabbit Bunnycorn's power and toughness are each equal to the number of non-land permanents you control. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the summary. Thank you for making this far in the video. I'm your host, Commander Claw. Betor Kindle All, I think, is a nice creature tribal deck, especially with elves. I think these 10, 20, and 40 threshold for its abilities at its end step is really easy to achieve, and you could easily win the game. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe, easiest way to support the channel.